Hey, I'm Jim Search, and welcome to Understanding Upstate, the podcast dedicated to exploring what makes upstate New York such a unique place. Each week, my co-host Rob Adler and I dive into a new upstate topic to better understand what's up upstate. And today, we are going to be talking about the cartoonist, icon, and multi-layered man of Broom County, none other than Johnny Hart. Rob, we're in for a wild one. Are you ready this week?
It's true. I am ready. Johnny Hart, who we I was going to say famously. I don't know if it's famous that we talked about him on our Binghamton Mets episode, but we did talk about him briefly on that episode. And I think you mentioned there was some controversy around him in that episode, perhaps. I was surprised about what I learned about the creator of the BC comic strip. Wow.
Yeah, we are going to jump in, and before we do that, folks, it is imperative that you subscribe, rate, review our show, and share this episode with a friend. Give it a shot. Yeah. Come on now. Put a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and let us know your favorite upstate location or person in the review. Give it a whirl. What do you got to lose? The answer's nothing. It's free.
Look, the thing you stand to gain is potentially another episode about canals. So go ahead and throw that in.
You're playing with house money. Yeah. If I'm going to be honest with you. So Get out there and do it for yourselves, for fuck's sake.
Hey, speaking of getting out there, I think you got out to upstate New York recently.
I sure did. Sure did, Rob. Yeah. Took a trip up to old Binghamton, New York for my 25th high school reunion. I know a lot of the speedy freaks out there are like, well, Jim, you sound like you're 19 years old. Well, I'm here to tell you, not true. Simply not true. My 25th...
Jim, your reunion is old enough to rent a car.
Yes, it is.
That's something.
That is pretty huge. A huge to-do. So, was upstate for the weekend, me and the lady, and yeah, definitely had quite an eventful go of the 607. Got COVID while I was there, so we're riding the wave of that. It's
not the souvenir you want from upstate New York.
Nah, man. COVID flavored Speedies is not the not the energy I want to experience in any way, shape, or form.
But you can't taste them, so it's fine.
No, yeah. Well, they're always the flavor's always in my heart, Rob.
That's
just
true.
So you know.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, look, we're bending the corner on some COVID nonsense thanks to the 607. And, I still love it, though. Come on.
I mean, you got to go to Boscov's, though. So.
We did. Oh, my God. We went to Boscov's and went to every single floor. My lady had never been. And it was funny.
Wow.
Funny enough, shout out to my man Steele. I saw Steele when I was up there. And we were walking down Main Street, Dawn and I saw Steele across the street. And just to kind of paint the picture here, folks, of how opposite it is of like New York City, is like just walked out into the middle of the street. I was like, hey, Steele, what's up? And just met there and shot the shit for a hot second. And he's like, yo, where are you guys going? I said, I'm taking Dawn to Boscov's. She's never been. And I mean, he's a Binghamton native. So he was like, oh, all right, have fun. Cool. I'm like, nah, we'll get some pictures out of it, man. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah, we went to Boscov's. And what was in Dawn pointed this out. It was very interesting. You guys know Dawn. that the clothing that they had in there was like the retro, because it was like, since old stuff is new now, so like clothes from the 80s are back in fashion. And Boscov's has not been remodeled since the 80s. Wow. So the clothes are matching the ambiance of said Boscov's.
That's kind of crazy.
Isn't that wild? So
a very Twilight Zone kind of occurrence there.
100%. And so we walked around. We saw what all that Boscov's had to offer. And as we went to go get coffee, right, and then we were walking back. Went to the Lost Dog, which is right down the street from Boscov's. Right. Walked back and saw that the plate glass, one of the plate glass windows at Boscov's was completely shattered.
Ooh. Just gone.
Just gone.
No.
Like, and not like for repairs. Like, part of it was on the sidewalk.
Sure.
So it's like, so what happened here? Well, there was a trail of blood crossing the street, and just droplets were going down the street. And so, very much like a Twilight Zone episode, Dawn and I are just traipsing down the street after it, like, okay. Oh, I see how he went into the grass here. We're assuming it's a guy. Sure. Went into the grass because we lost the trail, but then it comes back, staggers back out. Very intriguing stuff. And it was it was a very Binghamton type of vibe. I will say this is fucking hilarious. So I'm at my mixer before the actual reunion. I didn't end up...
Where is the reunion at? The high school? Is it a separate venue? What are we?
So here's what we're working with. So this is a 2-day event, right? First day is at Peterson's. Next day it's at the Old Union, right? So I'm there at Peterson's for like it's like kind of like the pregame event, right? So it's not sponsored by the school or anything. I mean, this was put together by like a couple who organized to do this, right? So we get in there, and there's an acoustic guitar player who's going to be playing like 90s covers throughout the night, which you like it, I love it, let's do it, right? So that's
the proper venue for that.
Yeah. And he gets on the mic, the guitar player, and he goes, it's kind of funny. He goes, so I just want to let you know, I know this is class of 99, but I graduated in 2010. And everyone was like, what the fuck? Right? As if like he's some sort of like kid, but he's not, because he's 32.
I was going to say.
But like, it was like a very Twilight Zone-ish moment where we're like, wait a minute, you're a kid. And it's like, well, actually, no. This guy's 32 years old.
This guy has a mortgage.
Right. Like, and I talked to him. His name, shout out Matthew Cornwell.
Hey, Matthew.
Yeah. He's the guitar player. Go look him up on the Instagrams. He's very talented. And he and I, shot the shit after his performance. But during the performance, this is hilarious. So, he Matthew was like, I didn't catch exactly why, but basically he was like, I need to take like a little break in between my sets. Is there a host? Can someone like come up and like talk during this, right? And I could feel the collective pressure of the room be like, Jim?
Sure.
And I'm like, well, nobody, this isn't how this works, guys. you've given me no heads up. This isn't like the movies where I like run up and I'm just like, hey, blah, right? So anyway, before anyone can even say anything, this dude I went to high school with, who's so drunk, and I will explain how drunk he is at the end of this. Mm-hmm. He is so drunk. He gets on the mic, and it's one of those types of situations where, you know, like when like, not saying you've ever been like this, Rob, but you may have met someone at this point where they're so drunk that in their head, what they're saying sounds great.
Sure,
it's so engaging, sure. It's so enthralling, and it's just killing. But then when it comes out of the mouth, it sounds awful. And this is what we have in store. Because he gets on the mic and he just goes, boom, and yells boom as loud as he can in the mic. Scares 3 people.
Wow, coming out strong.
So strong, right? And then he's just kind of standing there and he just goes, are you ready for it? Now, I don't really like this guy, so this is great for me. Sure. And I was...
I love this guy so far, but it's only with the context of the 2 things he's done on mic so far.
Yeah. So he goes, are you ready for it? And everyone's like, what? And so now I walk up because I can smell a bomb. I know what a bomb smells like.
I mean, you already said boom. The bomb went off.
Oh, boy. But there's another bomb. Because there can be more than one, man.
Sure, that's true.
He let off the bomb, but then there was a bomb waiting for him. And it was this. And so I like walk over and I'm just watching, right? I'm watching this unfurl. And he goes, hey, Search, you want in on this? You want a piece of this?
Jesus
you want
Christ.
A piece of this, Mike? And I'm looking at him and I just go,
I'm liking him less, for the record. I'm liking him less.
He's awful, man. He's not a good dude. And I just look at him and I go, nah, man, you're killing right now, man. You're killing it. And he goes, you're right. I'm not. I'm not killing. I'm not. And I said, hey, who am I to judge, man? Keep going, dude. Keep going. So eventually he stumbles away from the mic. And then one of our city councilmen who I went to high school with gets on the mic and just like talks. Like that's all that this situation required. Right. And it didn't really matter who this was. All a person had to do was be like, hey, can you believe we graduated 25 years ago? And then everyone's going to have a good time. And he managed to do that, which that's all the situation required. Could I have done that a lot better? Yes.
Sure.
I've done stand-up for a very long time. I've hosted many a plenty show in my life. So could have done it, but hey, did anybody going to pay me to do this? Because this isn't my show. Yeah. I didn't produce this shit. You can't just be like, and then they did, right? Because after the bomb went off, they were like, Search, can you just get up there? Search, please, will you do that? I'm like, nah, guys, unfortunately, I'm not being Hollywood on you right now.
Sure.
Right, because like this is my job, and like if you think about it, like I wouldn't, no one would just ask you to do your job when you're not working.
It's like if you are a plumber and you're at a party and the toilet's clogged or the sink drain gets clogged. Like, hey, so-and-so's a plumber. Yep. Get on over there, buddy. It's fine for you to offer your services, but like
I didn't sign up for that. I don't want to, and that's not what I'm here to do. So I can't do that. So it was very much that. But then dude gets back on the guitar. He does fine, does well enough. And then me and him just hang out. He had his lady there. My girlfriend was there as well. And then, after that, we went to a friend's place the next day. Shout out to DJ 220. I was over at his place for a little bit and had a great barbecue. And now here we are. So that is a full recap, folks,
there we go.
Of James Search's adventures throughout the Broom County area.
It's a good thing we were talking about Broom County because I think we're going to be sticking around there for the majority of the rest of the episode today.
Yes, we are definitely about to engage in some Broom County business, courtesy of the gentleman named Johnny Lewis Hart. Who was born February 18th, 1931, and passed away April 7th, 2007. And he was an American cartoonist noted as a creator of the comic strips BC and The Wizard of Id. Now, if you are a resident of Broom County for any period of time throughout the 80s or into the early 90s, you know his work. You have seen it across so many different places, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, notably the BC Open, BC Transit. If you ever rode a bus, you ever seen, you know what I mean? If you've ever even seen a bus route, a bus map, you've seen his work on it, right?
I would also say if you have lived in the United States up until about, well, I think both those strips are still going. If you've lived in the United States at any point since like the late 50s and you've picked up a newspaper and you went to the funnies, I know we're getting more and more specific, but if you ever looked at the funnies, you probably saw one of these two strips. I definitely remember reading BC as a kid. I wasn't really into it, which I'm proud of myself for now. Now with the information I now have, the thing I liked the most about BC was the title card because it's like a picture of a rock with like BC chiseled into it, and the like photorealism of the rock I found was always eye catching. And then the comics not so much, but I really like the rock.
Well,
but like those two comic strips are massively syndicated, and I definitely I remember seeing them in the newspaper.
Well, sure. This gentleman, Johnny Hart, is a son of Broom County. So Brant Parker co-produced and illustrated The Wizard of Id. Hart was recognized with several awards, including the Swedish Adamson Award and 5 from the National Cartoonist Society. In his later years, he was known and sometimes criticized, and we'll talk about that, for incorporating Christian themes and messages into his strips, and not the fun ones like Love Thy Neighbor and Give Alms to the Poor and Be Kind. Very different. Hart was referred to by Chuck Colson in a Breakpoint column as the most widely read Christian of our time, over C.S. Lewis, Frank E. Peretti, and Billy Graham.
I mean, I think King James has a pretty wide distribution.
You think King James might have a little bit up on old Johnny Hart?
I'm no statistician, but let's run the numbers on that one.
Yeah, there's this book called the Bible. I don't know if you're familiar with it. So we'll talk a little bit about the story of Johnny. Johnny, born in Endicott, New York, if you're in upstate, pronounced Endicott. Hart published his first work in Stars and Stripes while he served in Korea as an enlisted member of the United States Air Force. Returning in 1953, he published cartoons for the Saturday Evening Post, Collier's Weekly, and other magazines. His pre-cartooning employment included working in a barbecue restaurant and sign painting. So, celebs just like us. Hart's biggest success, BC, was created in 1957 and it began appearing in national daily newspapers on February 17th, 1958. Who would have thought?
Mind you, this is 2 years before the Flintstones comes out. So this is which one website I was on was very keen to point out. But it's an interesting fact in that I guess he's the first predominant prehistoric caveman cartoonist.
Now, Hart also co-created and wrote the comic strip The Wizard of Id, as we talked about before, drawn by Brant Parker, which has been distributed since November 9th, 1964. Now, according to Hanna-Barbera animator Ed Benedict, the animation powerhouses approached Hart in 1960, pitching a prime-time animated BC series.
There you go.
Talks fell through, with HB retooling the concept into what eventually became the Flintstones. So this BC could have been the Flintstones.
That's pretty. I mean, yeah, like it's a widely read comic strip, but it's not the Flintstones.
No,
it's not the Flintstones.
No, and I wonder how much of that would have had to been retooled there.
Yeah, I mean the I would say the big comparison in the humor, which now I know a lot about about the BC comic strip, is there was a lot of anachronistic humor in BC where like the punchline would be like it would actually reference present day things. So like a punchline could be the United States of America, and in the Flintstones it would be like the United States of Amethyst or some stupid rock name, right? So yeah, that's the main difference in case you're wondering. Both use cavemen, but like the Flint, and that is to say, some of the humor in BC is very hacky.
Well, speaking of which, Rob, can you tell us a little bit more about this BC business here?
Sure. So it's BC. It's a daily comic strip, which was obviously created by Johnny Hart, set in prehistoric times, which features a group of cavemen and anthropomorphic animals from various geologic eras. BC made its newspaper debut on February 17th, 1958, and was among the longest-running strips still written and drawn by its original creator when Hart died in 2007. So a lot of these kind of legacy comic strips have changed hands at least a couple times. We'll get into kind of what's happened with BC since he passed. Right now, since his death, third-generation descendant Mason Mastroianni has produced a strip with BC now being syndicated by Creators Syndicate. And I believe there's Mason's brother is also involved, and then also I think their sister is like the letterer who does the like the words, like writing out the words is a whole separate person usually. But yeah, it's a family business now at this point. It originally was not going to be called BC. It was originally called Suck Egg.
Wonder why they changed it. What could have...
Well, I'll tell you. So after getting encouragement from Brant Parker in a high school art contest, and this is who he would go to work on The Wizard of Id with, Hart decided to become a freelance cartoonist. But after seeing Peanuts, which is by the Johnny Hart of Minnesota, Charles Schulz, after seeing that in print for the first time in the 1950s, Hart realized that comic strips provided a sequential freedom that single-panel gag cartoons didn't. And I will say, I have not read the word gag, as in like bits or like comedic bits, more in close succession than when reading about comic strips.
Right.
We'll get more into the gags in a little bit. So, fond of caveman jokes, Hart began designing triangular-shaped characters who could juxtapose primal life with modern-day observations.
Ooh.
Decided to call it Suck Egg based on an egg joke in an early strip. And his wife eventually talked him out of it. And it was later titled BC after its lead character.
Why can't I call it Suck Egg?
Man, can you imagine if two things happened? One, Flintstones didn't happen, and two, if it kept the name Suck Egg. And we're like, you ever watch old reruns of Suck Egg as a kid?
Yeah, that would be a very different timeline.
That's the alternate timeline I want to live in. That's the only thing I would change. It's the only thing. Just swap Suck Egg for Flintstones.
And then we're good.
Yeah, COVID never would have happened. You wouldn't be sick right now. It would be a different...
Oh, I wish, man.
It'd be a different place.
Not being sick rules.
Yeah, it's true. So... Just the publication history of the strip. It was initially rejected by a number of syndicates until the New York Herald Tribune Syndicate accepted it and launched the strip again in February of 1958. Hart was assisted with BC by gag writers Jack Caprio and Dick Boland, who would later come aboard for The Wizard of Id. He had a team of gag writers. Like for Jim, I don't know. Did you read any of the strips in preparation?
I didn't, but like as a kid, I mean, like the Wizard of Id floated around, as did DC.
The fact that he employed not one but a team of two writers for these strips is, I wouldn't say impressive. It's astonishing. But also, like, it's a grind. You have to pump enough of these out for conceivably every day of the week, right? So I do understand there's a big, I need to kind of grind out comic strips. But, like, we're not dealing with high concept stuff here.
No, this isn't like you're writing a monologue for, like, late night television every night.
And, like... different comic strips have different approaches, but I would say, again, these were pretty straightforward. Like, I saw a lot of the Christian ones, and...
Oh, wait a minute. That's not true. I did read two of the BC ones, because I read the two, like, offensive ones that he put together, and I was like, well... That didn't seem too hard. It seems like you just took some low-hanging fruit there, Johnny.
Yeah, a lot of low-hanging fruit. Like, one of the ones was... It was like the character BC saying, I need a sign from God. Give me a sign. And then, like, a movie theater marquee drops in front of him. It's like, yeah, okay, man.
There it is. There's the sign.
There you go.
Hey-o.
And he had a team of writers for that. I went down a rabbit hole. I looked up one of these guys writing because they were like syndicated in other newspapers just as writers. Not good.
Not the best that you've ever read.
No. It all read as like retired dad who has a blog. Not a retired writer, but a retired dad has a blog kind of vibe. Pre-blog. So it's filling, blogs don't exist when a lot of this stuff is going out. And we'll get into how internet kind of shaped Johnny's career later on. But yeah, very low-hanging fruit. It's a great way of putting it. So when the Herald Tribune Syndicate folded in 1966, due to the demise of its parent newspaper, BC was taken over by the Publishers Syndicate, which sounds like an evil organization, but...
Right, yeah, this doesn't sound on the up and up.
Yeah, that syndicate changed hands and names frequently, and it eventually became a part of King Features. At this point, it's 1987. Hart changed distributors to Creators Syndicate, becoming one of Creators' first syndicated strips. So after Hart's death in 2007, the strip began being produced by his grandsons, Mason, who's the head writer and cartoonist, and then Mick is a writer for both BC and Wizard of Id, and then his daughter is the letterer and colorist. So that's kind of how the work is evenly distributed. And I'll say he evidently worked really fast, and I think he was doing a lot of that work initially, but he was a very quick illustrator, which is evidenced by the fact that now it's 3 people doing the work that
exactly. I was gonna say the fact that that like his workload is so massive, or was massive, that like now there's 3 people doing it.
Yeah, well, I guess there were 3 people doing it before with the 2 writers he had, but at least he is the one just doing all the cartooning. So having said that, Jim, let's talk about some of the controversy.
Oh my gosh. The religious convictions of one Johnny Hart. Yikes. Let's go. Hart was raised in a casually religious family, and he attended Christian Sunday school regularly. Although his formal education ended with high school, he was fascinated by the Bible from a young age, which is never good. You should you should draw inspiration from the Bible.
Sure.
You should maybe find, some wisdom, but one should never be fascinated.
At minimum, you should be pressing some leaves in its pages, right? As a kid.
Right.
That's what I used it for.
But yes, fascination, red flag. In 1984, there was a distinguishable shift in Hart's spirituality, and Hart and his wife Bobby began attending a congregation of the Presbyterian Church in Nineveh, New York. Hart attributed his religious awakening to a father-son team of contractors who installed a satellite dish at his home. What on earth? What on earth does that mean? And what the hell was that conversation looking like to be like, you know what, man? We got 600 channels, and I really believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. What? Yo, man. That's got to be the smoothest talking father and son satellite dish installers that I've ever heard or seen in my life.
It was probably, I can get you the channels for free, but you got to come to church.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to do this little baptism real quick. We just do it in your tub. We'll just do it in your tub. Yep. Just fill it up, and then we'll just knock that out. So Hart's increasingly deep religious faith and the staunch theological and political conservatism that accompanied it came to be the source of considerable controversy in the later years of his life. Here we go. In a 1999 interview with the Washington Post, Hart fixed his face to say, "Jews and Muslims who don't accept Jesus will burn in hell," and that homosexuality is the handiwork of Satan. Seems like a reasonable guy to me.
Seems like he would get along with the creator of Dilbert, who I believe is also a fucking lunatic.
Okay. Well, those are some very strong stances, and not any that the good folks at Understanding Upstate sign up for. So in the same piece, Hart opined that the end of the world is approaching, maybe by the year 2010. Shit.
Sounds like he's optimistic.
Right.
Maybe by 2010.
Hey, maybe try 2024. Who knows, man? The lion's share of controversy, however, came from Hart's increasing tendency to incorporate his religious and political themes and ideals into his comic strips, especially BC. Some newspapers refused to print strips with overtly religious themes, Or, as the Los Angeles Times, move them to the religious section of the newspaper.
Oh, there you go.
There you have it.
Again, it's as we're about to get into the controversial strips, I just want to set the stage that this is a comic strip set in prehistoric caveman times, but Jesus exists.
Sure.
But he also probably didn't believe in evolution or like just all the weird mental math you have to do to make these fucking jokes work. But and they don't even work. They're bad.
Yeah, there's some Mack truck size plot holes. Now, two strips in particular were controversial. The BC strip for April 15th, 2001. So this is not a time when it's like, I didn't know any better. Nah, dude.
Sure.
2001. Which was Easter, portrayed a Jewish menorah with 7 candles progressively burning out. As the strip captions ran the words of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Just it's quotes of from Jesus, like
parables
going up in the smoke and shit. I looked at it and I was like, oh, if I saw this as a kid, I would have kept going. Not a funny one. Keep going.
Yeah. At the end, the outer arms of the candelabrum broke away, revealing a Christian cross with the final panel portraying an opened, empty tomb of Christ. Well, don't know how else to take that one.
Not good.
No, this ain't good. So critics, including the Anti-Defamation League and the American Jewish Committee, argue that Hart's strip portrayed replacement theology, that is, the conception of Christianity as supplanting Judaism. Hart offered an apology. If I have offended any readers, which we know is not a great apology, but still thought the strip could increase religious awareness and claimed that he had meant for the strip to be a tribute to both religions. And that is what we call bullshit. So, another BC strip, which ran in November 10th, 2003, showed an outhouse with a traditional crescent, which we would see in Islam, which a character entered with a vertical graphic slam, only to ask, is it just me, or does it stink in there? Critics, including the Council of American Islamic Relations, claimed that the combination of the vertical bar and the slam, as well as the crescent moons both in the sky and on the outhouse, made the strip a slur of Islam. Hart denied that this was anything but an outhouse joke. I don't know, man. I'm having a hard time to believe that.
Yeah. And one interesting thing I found, and kind of just reading about all these controversies, is that from the sound of it, a lot of people are able to like corroborate the fact that they thought it was bullshit, or explanations were no good and in bad faith, because of the internet. Like,
right.
Again, it was like 2001. Like, he hadn't experienced backlash, like internet backlash yet, and this was like the first time it happened because he made a super fucked up comic strip. And in fact, the criticism was starting to be received by newspapers a week before it was published. So people at the syndicated newspapers all across the country were like, "Oh, this is fucked up. We're going to talk about this." So it got distributed, and people started like complaining, like, "Are you like, you're going to run this shit?" And people did, of course. Sounds like some newspapers may not have, but I'm sure most did. And basically Hart and anyone in his camp was like, "Well, we didn't get a fair shake at this. Everyone knew about it before it came out. It was a one-sided narrative." It's like, you fucking You published this. Get the fuck out of here. This is a new age. Welcome to the internet. And similar thing happened in 2003, where again, people are able to connect and collaborate their efforts and like raising their concerns about a bad comic strip to begin with,
right?
Let alone putting out this like heinous shit. Like, I'm upset this upset about such a stupid comic strip. Continue, please.
Yes.
I'm going to take a break.
I'm going to emotionally just recharge.
Yeah.
The BC Daily Strip from December 7th, 2006 attracted criticism for defining infamy as a word seldom used after Toyota sales topped 2 million. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. This is just before he died, right? I think like less than a year before he died is like, let me get one more in.
Yeah.
Let me
just take one more swing at being a racist. The day was the 65th anniversary of the Japanese military's attack on Pearl Harbor, and the punchline of the strip refers to Franklin D. Roosevelt's infamy speech, which requested from Congress a declaration of war against Japan.
Which, again, this is a caveman saying this, so somehow this caveman knows that Pearl Harbor happened, but also knows about Japanese car sales. It's so fucking stupid. Also, bad. Yeah, just.
The day's strip was pulled from at least one newspaper, the San Antonio Express-News. The paper's managing editor said the comic was, quote, a regressive and insensitive statement about one of the worst days in American history. There you go. Now, on July 21st, 2009, the strip presented a gag that involved the supposed suggestion of animal abuse. Well, all right, here we are. John Hart Studios received many angry responses from readers and issued an apology on their website. Golly.
There you go.
Now, I will say this. He has pretty much painted himself to be a very horrible man as far as his views of the world. And,
Sure.
You know, it's like, I feel like right before he died, he was like, you know what? I'm dying, so, like, let me just go out like a real scumbag.
Let me tell everyone what I really think about Japan.
Right. Yeah, yeah. You know who hasn't, who's had it too easy? The Japanese. Let me give them a piece of my mind. Well, we'll talk a little bit about his personal life, okay?
Sure.
Hart was an active member in his local community, as I had referenced earlier at the top of the show. The area of Greater Binghamton in Broom County, New York, which shares a common abbreviation of BC. Huh.
What a
Hart,
winky dink.
How about that? Hart donated BC-based drawings and logos free of charge to many entities and organizations found in the Broom County area, including logos for BC Transit, as I said, Caveman on Wheel, Broom County Parks Dinosaur, Broom County Meals on Wheels, Caveman on Wheel with food.
This guy really liked cavemen.
Yeah, he was into it, man. Southern Tier Red Cross, Caveman building Red Cross with bricks, Broom County Celtic Pipes and Drums, Caveman wearing a kilt and playing bagpipes, Broom County Celtic Kazoos, Irish Caveman with kazoo. Well,
do we know what a Celtic kazoo is?
I've never heard of them before in my life, but I'm sure they exist. There's no way they don't. BC Open PGA Tour event, 1971 to 2006. Caveman golfing. Broom Dusters, NAHL Hockey Club. Caveman with hockey stick. BC Iceman, UHL Hockey Club. Brute Caveman playing hockey. Southern Tier Independence Center. Caveman in a stone wheelchair stuck in cave doorway. Wily character navigating a landscape full of holes. Hart's involvement with the BC Open dated back to as early as 1970. the early 1970s, and characters from BC were used extensively in advertising and marketing materials for the event, including the winner's trophy, which was a bronze version of a hapless BC caveman golfing, is a light-hearted trophy when compared to many others, leading it to have earned the designation of being voted by the players on the tour as the best trophy tour, the only one they would ever want to have. Additionally, Hart contributed original panels of BC strips to charity auctions with Binghamton, New York-based PBS affiliate WSKG-TV. Shout out to them. Public Access has also provided album cover art for the 1999 album Still Fresh by the world-famous jazz vocal group The Four Freshmen, and the strips for BC were an inspiration for the mascot of UC Irvine, the Anteater.
I looked it up. Celtic Kazoo is a marching band based out of Binghamton.
How about that? I'm sure they have marched in a parade day or two.
Oh, yeah.
I have long since retired, so I will just assume they were. Now, the iconic life of the complex man, Johnny Hart. Hart died of a stroke on April 7th, 2007. According to his wife, Bobby, he was working at his drawing table at the time of death. Damn, putting in some work. Now, the tribute. Hart was memorialized in a May 14th, 2007 strip of the comic strip Mother Goose and Grimm. In the June 20th, 2007 Blondie strip, the last panel shows Mr. Dithers saying, "Boy, oh boy, that Johnny Hart sure knew his stuff, didn't he?"
Was Mr. Dithers the racist in that in Blondie?
I mean, yeah, probably.
Sounds like it.
Bruce Tinsley honored Hart in his Mallard Fillmore strip of July 10th, 2007. There was also a tribute in the Wizard of Id strip. In the February 14th, 2008 strip, two peasant women are talking. One, who has just bought some flowers, says, "How come you didn't celebrate Valentine's Day?" And the other answers, "My heart isn't in it this year." Well, shucks. Mastriani poems. Traditionally, every December 3rd, Johnny Hart would draw a BC cartoon with his wife, Ida Bobby Hart, portrayed as the queen of the ant colony to celebrate her birthday. On December 3rd, 2007, his grandson Mason carried on the tradition, a practice he would keep up till early 2019, the year after Bobby Hart's death. The tradition lives on. And folks, that is the complicated story of one Johnny motherfucking Hart.
There you go. We
Woo!
did it. We did it. I think in the time we took to talk about Johnny Hart, you could probably have read his entire body of work. They're short. They're short comic strips.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah, we were at, well, you know what? We talked a lot. I talked a lot about my fucking bullshit trip to Binghamton.
It really set the stage.
Yeah.
For the bullshit we learned about later.
I mean, and I only say bullshit because I got COVID. Otherwise, Binghamton's great. I love that town so much.
There you go. Well, what bullshit would you like to plug?
So let's say you're done with the bullshit and you want some real shit. You've read all of this Islamophobic drivel that Johnny put out, and you said, you know what? Is there somewhere I can go that is less filled with hate? Is there a place? I can tell you there is, right? And it's in the form of my album, Upstate Understandings, my very first comedy album, which is available at jimsearch.bandcamp.com. It's available on all DSPs. And also, I should point out, produced by none other than Rob Adler. Put his magic touch on that album. Sounds like I'm speaking the Queen's English, baby. So go out, pick up those albums. I mean, I have one box of vinyl left, and if I were to get rid of it, that would be incredible. Bunch of T-shirts too. Everybody should buy all those. That'd be great. Go do that. It'd be great. And also, if you want to find me, I'm at Jim Search on all social media. JimSearchComedy.com is another place to get at me. I'm going to be, if you're in Rutherford, New Jersey or around there, I'm going to be at the Williams Center again, July 20th. That's a Saturday. So pull on up for that. Buy tickets from Williams Center, on their page. I'll probably have a link for it in my biography. But yes, go ahead and do that. Rob, they have bought a copy of my album. Mm-hmm. They bought a copy of, they bought all the copies they could, right? I have no more vinyl. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They bought all the T-shirts, but they're still just flush with cash and they still want to hear other shit. What could they listen to and where could they spend their money to do that?
Look, let's say you just came up with a brilliant idea for a comic strip, but your wife has just informed you that it's a bad idea to call it Suck Egg. And you're a little distraught. You're a little upset. Really had your heart set on it. Had your heart set on it? Wow, look at that.
Yeah. Huge.
Anyway, to soothe your soul, you're going to go grab my album, New York Sticky, available at brooklynfrequency.bandcamp.com. Link is in the description for that and for Jim's album as well. And it's a great album. It's an instrumental album. If you've listened to any other episodes, you've heard my spiel. If you haven't listened to any other episodes, go listen to those, goddammit.
Yeah, what are we doing here?
And after you do that, subscribe, rate, and review. I don't know why I put a dramatic pause in there, but I also review the show and share an episode with a friend. All those things really help us out. Jim, can you help me out?
Sure.
And give us a clue for what we'll be talking about next week?
Oh, I can. What I can tell you is that when you slither your way into next week, you're going to love what we have to say.
Ooh, wow. That was pretty... you already started off with doing these so well, but I just feel like in the last couple of weeks, they've gone up up to a new level. That line read was, man, oh man.
Listen, that was off the cuff too, man. I didn't write any of that down. I'm like the Jay-Z of riddles, I guess. You know what I mean?
I do know.
I do
know. Well, that just leaves us with one final thing to do, and that is for everyone to have to endure one of my bad up puns to get us out of here. Are you ready for it?
I've never been more ready.
Well, I got to call up my local newspaper to complain about this Islamophobic, anti-Semitic cartoon strip I just read. So we got to get out of here.
Understanding Upstate is a podcast hosted by Jim Search and Rob Adler, edited by Rob Adler, and music from Regal Monk.